It is well known that our grandparents and great-grandparents, when they came from Europe in the early 1900s, and they came to these shores, to North America, were faced with a dilemma. Could they keep the Sabbath in the Golden Medina, in the streets of Golden of America? And they were told that if they did not come and report for work on Saturday, they would have to look for a new job on Monday morning. And so many times people had jobs, job after job after job, and were fired because they refused to work on Saturday. This took a toll on them. On Friday afternoons, they faced this dilemma. Would they go to work on Saturday morning and break the tradition of their fathers? Or would they continue working on Saturday and keep their jobs to support their families? What an excruciating dilemma. And many a father would come into their home, plop down into a chair and say, it's schwer zu sein a Yid. It's difficult to be Jewish. Their children, or our parents, said, if it's so schwer to be a Yid, if it's so difficult to be Jewish, why keep these laws? Let's assimilate. Let's be like everybody else. And therefore, in the past 2 generations, we've lost 90% of those who used to keep Shabbos and keep observance and Jewish law in Europe. Now we only have 10% of the population keeping Shabbos, 10 or 12%. And much of the generation has lost its connection to Judaism because of this transition from Europe to America and the sweatshops and the difficulty in keeping Sabbath in the face of losing a job. If we understand the history of how we lost our connection to Judaism, because it's schwer to be Jewish, it's difficult to be Jewish, it's painful to be Jewish, then the antidote must be we have to reverse that process to teach our children that it is beautiful, it is joyous to be Jewish. I have a student who's 21 years old and who's becoming observant. And I set her up to go to many homes on Friday night to enjoy the Shabbos table, to learn more about Shabbos. I asked her, how's it going? She said, I love it. I enjoy it so much. I enjoy watching the mother light the Shabbos candles, and she teaches me how to light Shabbos candles. I enjoy the father making Kiddush, singing Shalom Aleichem, the father turning to his wife and singing Eishes Chayil, a woman of valor, the children around the table dressed so angelically, the beautiful food, the beautiful joyous atmosphere. But I have one problem. I said, what's that? She said, when the father gives a blessing on Friday night, how come it is so loveless? I said, what do you mean by loveless? She said, well, the father lines up the 3 or 4 or 5 children in a row. And you know those old-fashioned typewriter things, perhaps before you were born? And the father lines up and goes, ding, 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 and he attempts to make an emotional connection with his children, but it becomes so routine, so perfunctory, so ordinary that he misses, the kiss misses, or he doesn't really make an opportunity of love and connection with his children. This young lady is an occupational therapist, and she has studied psychology and sociology and emotional connection. And she said, what a lost opportunity. How many times does a father get to bond with his children? He's so busy all week long. And here is Friday night, an opportunity to connect, to bond, to show love and emotional connection. And it is a golden opportunity, and yet it is lost so many times. I said to myself, do I do that? Do I lose that opportunity as well? That Friday night, I gave it some thought. When I came home from shul, I called over my daughter Rivka, and I said, Yisimech Elokim Kesara, Rivka, Rachel v'Leah, Yivarechecha Hashem, v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Hashem panav elecha v'yichud. She looked up at me and went like this. She was 7 years old. Said, what's wrong with Daddy? What's all this Yom Kippur stuff? He's making the Friday night blessing into a Yom Kippur. I said, keep going. Simech Elokim Kesara Rivka Rachel v'Leah, and I gave her a hug. And I learned from my good friend, Rabbi Yosef Kaufman in Jerusalem, who is my chavrusa and dear friend in Jerusalem. I learned from him to give each child a whisper, a special message to tell them how good they are. I said, Rivka, you are such a gentle child. You have such warmth and kindness and love. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. My son said, I heard that. I said, you're next. Come here. I brought up my son and I said, Yisimach Elokim Chefraim v'Chemenashe. Yivarechech Hashem yishmerecha. Yer Hashem panav elecha v'yichuneka. Yisrael Hashem panav elecha. And then I leaned in, gave him a hug, and then I gave him a whisper. Said, I enjoyed so much learning with you this week. It was so special how much you love the Torah and how much you love learning. I enjoyed it very much. I love you. And every Friday night for the past 30 years, I've been giving my children this kind of connection. I give this blessing standing right next to the Shabbos candles, right next to the table, and I show them, and I want them to associate Shabbos with love, Shabbos with positivity. So they'll know and remember that Shabbos means love. Shabbos means connection. Shabbos means bonding. Shabbos means attention. Shabbos means they're valued. And that's one way in which we can rebuild what we lost, to rebuild that disconnection through connection. And that must come through relationship from a father to a child. And so too it can be with a mother. If one is a single parent, a mother can give, or a single father can give that love, that connection. And the key is the warmth and that whisper, building up their identity. Our job as parents is to give a child an identity, to tell them who they are, what their strengths are, with which to meet the challenges of life. When we give them that whisper of love, that whisper of connection, we give them self-esteem, we give them value, we give them intrinsic value and identity. And in that way, we can bond with them and give them the knowledge and the feeling that Shabbos means love.